In my last video, I showed how to calculate the predetermined overhead cost for a company with one cost driver. In this exercise, the company we have here have more than one cost driver, to be precise, two cost drivers. It will be very helpful for you to go back and watch my previous video to prepare yourself better to solve this problem, which has two cost drivers. Please click on the channel and go to my videos and select playlist, and within the playlist select managerial videos and watch the predetermined overhead video. And that was what we did previously with only one cost driver. Here we have a company that manufactures variety of poultry product to Home Depot. I love Home Depot. They have good stuff, they have good tools. Okay. But they have two departments. Okay, so before the product will be ready, it has to be molded, and then it also has to be painted. Okay, so they have the molding department and the painting department. But actually, with predetermined overhead cost, knowing that we have molding department, the molding department, the cost driver for that department is machine hours. Okay, so I'm going to select everything that has to do with molding, which is machine hours. So we have machine hours here, okay, and then we have the painting department. This is the painting department, and the cost driver, the company says painting department is based on direct labor hours. So I'm going to select direct labor hours. Direct labor, I'm going to highlight it in blue for painting. Okay. So now we know molding department is based on machine hours. Painting department is based on direct labor hours. Now let's go to our problem that we have here. First, okay, so this is what the company estimated in the first year, okay, or the beginning years. You can whatever you want to say, it's up to you. And then this is actually what happened. Okay, this is actually what happened right here. So we have been asked, what we are required to do is compute the predetermined overhead cost. Okay, compute the predetermined overhead rate, okay, during the year in molding department and also in painting department. So we are going to compute the predetermined overhead for molding alone and also for painting as well. So for the sake of time, I have made some table here so we don't spend too much time working on this. But I'm going to explain everything as I go. Okay. So first, we are computing predetermined overhead cost. If you watch my previous video, okay, I made a short note on how to what exactly is predetermined overhead cost. So predetermined overhead cost, as you can see, the estimated total manufactured overhead cost divided by the estimated allocated hours. Okay. And to find the estimated total manufacturing overhead cost, you select the variable element plus, or the fixed element plus the variable element. So the fixed cost plus variable times the allocated hours divided by the allocated hours. So it's pretty simple. This is the formula, F plus VH divided by H, okay? So let's go back to our problem that we have here. So with that knowledge, okay, we are going to first compute the total manufacturing overhead cost. And the total manufacturing overhead cost here will be the fixed cost plus the variable times the hours. Okay, so bear in mind the fixed cost plus the variable times the hours. So the fixed cost for molding, okay, the fixed cost for molding. So let's look for the fixed cost for molding that the company estimated. So the fixed manufacturing overhead cost for molding, and the molding is $497,000. Okay, so the molding is $497,000. So we're going to put that here, $497,000. The variable cost, okay, notice something here. The variable cost under molding is $1.5. Okay, so we're going to put $1.5 as the variable cost. Okay, now times the allocation, as you can see, so the variable cost times the allocation, the hours. Okay, but remember that the molding department is only based on machine hours. So although we have labor hours and machine hours, you only select machine hours for molding because that is the cost driver for molding, and which is 70,000. Okay, so 70,000 machine hours. Okay, so we have 70,000 machine hours here, and we add the cost element together. Okay, we multiply the cost element and then we add the fixed and the cost element together. So first multiply the variable times the allocation, and that gives you $105,000. Okay. And as you can see here, we have to add them together. We have to add the fixed and then the variable element together. Okay, so we add this, which is the fixed manufacturing overhead cost plus the variable manufacturing overhead cost. And that gives us the estimated total manufacturing overhead cost. Okay, that was fixed plus variable times the hours. Okay, now we have the fixed plus variable times the hours. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for painting as well. We do the same thing for painting as well. So we look for fixed manufacturing overhead cost for painting, just like we did for molding. So fixed manufacturing overhead cost for painting is 605,000. That is fixed manufacturing overhead cost for painting. So we put in $605,000. Okay, and we find the variable element. We're going to find the variable element. So the variable element, variable manufacturing overhead cost. You noticed that here, because it's labor only applies to painting, we only have it here. So we're using the labor for painting. So painting department uses direct labor. So then the direct labor is $2. So we put the variable here, $2. And then we multiply it by the allocation. Molding, remember, painting again is based on direct labor hours. So we are not going to use machine hours. We are going to use the direct labor hours, which is the 60,000. Okay, so 60,000 direct labor hours. Now we add the variable times. We multiply the variable and the allocation together to give us the variable element. So we multiply these two to get 120,000, and then we add the fixed and the variable element together. Okay, it looks kind of complicated, but it's actually very easy when you follow the step. Okay, so finding the estimated total manufacturing overhead cost first, and that is the fixed in the beginning of the year plus the variable times the hours in the same beginning year. So as you can see, I made a note here. All figures must come from the previous year's data or the beginning year data. Okay, that's the same. Okay, now that is number one. Okay, but we are not actually done with number one yet, because to find a predetermined overhead cost, as you find it, you have to divide it by the estimated hours. Okay, so let's move on. Now we will bring down the estimated hours. Okay, so the estimated hours we have for molding was 602,000, and then the estimated allocated hours. Okay, and the estimated allocated hours. Which hours should we use for molding? Molding says only machine hours, so we're going to use the machine hours, which is the 70,000. What we use here, the same thing we use here. So 70,000, right? Okay, and then we will divide the estimated manufacturing overhead cost by 70,000, which is the allocation hours. So $8.6. So the company estimated that every 1 hour of machine hours, okay, every 1 hour of machine hours for molding, the cost for manufacturing overhead is $8.6. Okay, so beginning of the year they estimated, okay, every 1 hour of machine hours in molding, the manufacturing overhead cost is $8.6. Overhead cost $8.6. So we're going to calculate that also for painting. The painting estimated manufacturing overhead cost was $735,000. Okay, and then the allocation actually in painting is direct labor hours. So we will use the 60,000 we use here. Okay, so let's put 60,000, and then we divide the estimated manufacturing overhead cost by the 60,000. So the company has estimated that every direct labor hours, the cost for manufacturing overhead cost will be $12.25. Okay. So we're done with number one. Very easy and simple and straightforward. Okay. So that's how we find. So that we have computed a predetermined overhead for molding and predetermined overhead for painting. Okay. Now number two, we have been asked to compute the total overhead cost applied to job 205. Okay. So before the job gets done, the total job gets done, it has to be molded and it has to be painted. Okay, it has to be molded and it has to be painted. So that means we add in the cost, the manufacturing overhead cost for molding and painting together. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, to get the job done. So the job 205 was started on August 1st and completed on August 10th. Okay, so that's what we're going to find here. We put these two together. Now, the whole point of finding predetermined overhead cost is to apply, the whole point of finding predetermined overhead is to apply for manufacturing overhead cost. That's the whole point, to apply to it. So you estimated that this is what it's going to be. So every hour we have to multiply by it. So with molding, every machine hours has to be multiplied by 8.6. And with painting, every direct labor has to be multiplied by 12.5. That's the whole point of it. Okay, so we have already computed the predetermined overhead cost for molding. So let's select the molding, multiply by the allocation hours. The allocation hours and the molding is machine hours. So we're only going to use machine hours. And we have here, this is what actually happened. So this is what the company estimated, and this is what happened. Okay, so machine hours for molding. Let me highlight it one more time. For molding, we have been using the red pen. Okay, so yes, for molding, it's based on machine hours. So machine hours here for molding was 110 hours. So the company spent 110 hours in molding. Okay, so we will multiply the predetermined overhead rate times the allocation, and that will give us 946 for overhead applied just for molding. Now we go to painting. The predetermined overhead cost is already computed here, so we select that one, and then we have been using blue pen for predetermined for painting, and the painting, the hours is based on direct labor for painting. So we're going to select direct labor here, which is 84 hours. Okay, so company spent 110 hours in machine and 84 in labor. Okay, but labor only applies to painting in finding predetermined overhead cost. So what actually we do is we multiply the predetermined overhead cost by the allocation, and that gives us 1029. Okay. So before the job gets done, okay, the job that was done based on the data we have here, molding alone was 946, manufacturing overhead cost applied, and painting was 1029. So for the total job, we have to add the cost for molding and painting together to give us the total cost for the job at whole. Okay, so we're going to select this and add this together to give us 1975 as the total cost applied for job 205. So that is number 2, the total manufacturing overhead cost applied for this job, the cost for molding and the cost for painting added together. Because before the job gets done, it has to be molded and then painted, right? Okay, number 3, let's move on. Stay with me, we are almost there. What will be the cost, the total cost recorded for job 205 if the job contains 50 units? And what will be the unit produced? Good. They want you to compute what will be the total manufacturing cost, the total cost. If you watch my previous videos, okay, so this is a great invitation for you guys to follow the video and then keep watching even from the beginning. Okay, we are finding actually in essence what we call product cost, and the product cost is direct material plus direct labor plus manufacturing overhead cost. Okay, direct material plus direct labor plus manufacturing overhead cost gives us the total manufacturing cost for a product. So let's go back here. We're going to find direct material used in production. Okay, direct material used in production. So this is what the company used in production, direct material used in production. Okay. So what was the direct material used in production for molding? That's the question. Okay, for molding, under molding, the direct material used for production was $470. Okay, $470 for molding alone. So we select $470. How about direct labor for molding? Okay, direct labor cost. So remember, there's difference between the direct labor hours and direct labor cost. Okay, direct labor hours is the allocation. Direct labor cost is the cost that was already incurred. Okay. So here, direct labor cost for molding was $325. So we will do $325. And the product cost contains direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead cost. We have already computed direct manufacturing overhead cost, which is this one for molding. So we just reference it here. And then the total cost for molding alone will be direct material plus direct labor plus manufacturing overhead cost. That will give us 1741. Now let's do the same thing for painting as well. Okay, so with painting, direct material for painting, you're going to find direct material used in painting. So direct material in production, we have 332 for painting. 332 for painting, so direct material 332 for painting. And then we have direct labor cost. Remember, we come down here, direct labor cost for painting was $588. So we put $588. And then manufacturing overhead cost, we have already computed, is $1029. So we reference that here, $1029. And then we add these together. You can just drag it and then it compute that for you. Okay, just drag the cursor right over there. So the total cost for painting was $1949. Total cost for molding was $1741. If you want to find the total direct material used in the product, okay, in the job, you add these two together. So this plus that, you add it together. Okay, and then total labor, you add molding and painting together. Total manufacturing overhead cost, you add molding and painting together as well. And then the total cost, you add molding and painting together. So that gives us 306,690. Okay. So total cost for the company, total cost for producing was 3,690 in total. Remember, for only molding was 1741, painting cost 1949, and total together for the job done was 3,690. Okay. Now we have computed that. We need the question we were asked here was, what's the question? Okay, if the job contained 50 units, what will be unit cost? Okay, so if the job contains 50 units, what will 1 unit be? That's what we're computing. So the total cost for the job was this, 3,690. That was the total cost for the job. And we are assuming that the unit were 50. Okay, 50 over here, right here. So 50. So we will divide the total cost by 50. So we take this one divided by 50, and that gives us $73.8. So the unit per unit cost is so every unit product cost. Okay, so they produce 50 units. 1 unit costs 73.8, and the total of 50 was 3,690. So that was number 3. Okay, I hope everything is making sense now. Great. Let's move on and do the last one, then let's go to bed. So at the end of the year, okay, let's pay attention to reading. At the end of the year, the records of high is the company reveal the following actual cost and operating data for all jobs worked on during the year. Okay, so this is what happened during the year. Okay, now what we have been asked to do is to compare what we have applied to what actually happened. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, the company estimated, as we can see here, that every machine, 1 machine hour, the manufacturing cost is 8.6. Every 1 direct labor hour, the manufacturing cost is 12.25. That is what the company estimated at the beginning of the year. But here, did that actually happen? That is the question. That's what we're going to compare. Okay, and as we can see, manufacturing overhead cost for painting was $750,000, and the manufacturing overhead cost for molding was $570,000. So we're going to compare to see what we estimated and what actually happened. Are they the same? Did we estimate too much, or did we estimate less? If we estimate less, it's under applied. If we estimated more, it's over applied. So that is what we're going to compute for. Okay, let's move on. And for the sake of time, we're almost there. Stay with me. This is so fun. So now we're going to find the predetermined overhead, like what we estimated, and compare it to what actually happened. Okay. So we estimated that with molding, predetermined overhead cost was 8.6. That's what we estimated. We have already computed it, okay? And then machine hours that happen, okay? Machine hours that happen for molding. Let's go and use this. Machine hours, okay? Because it's the cost driver is machine. So the machine hours that happened was 65,000 hours. So 65,000, sorry. So total manufacturing overhead cost, according to what we estimated, should be the predetermined overhead rate times the machine hours, okay, which is 559,000 for molding. But look at what actually happened. How much? It was 570,000. Okay, so according to our estimate, this is the cost that should be applied, $559,000. But actually, this is what happened, $570,000. So as we go deep into this subject, we will learn in our next topic or in our next subject that the company, although the company estimates some amount that will be applied at the beginning of the year, as the job is being done, the company keeps record of the manufacturing overhead that is being incurred. Okay, so at the end of the job, they realized that, oh, molding actually was only $570,000, but we estimated $559,000. Did we under applied or over applied? Of course, as you can see right here, without even computing, you can tell that we under applied, because we thought $559,000 will be for manufacturing overhead costs, but actually it was more than what we estimated. So what we do is we take 570 minus this, and 11,000 is what we under applied. So we under applied 11. We estimated lower than what actually happened. We are going to do the same thing for painting, right? The same thing for painting. This is painting. Let's go straight. The predetermined overhead cost for painting was 12.25. I remember that one. Good. So we select that to 12.25. And then with painting, we know the cost driver for painting is direct labor. Okay, so we're going to use painting, we're going to use the 62,000. This is what actually happened. So that's what we're going to use, 62,000. And then multiply that with this. So we estimated that in painting, 759,500 is what is going to be applied for manufacturing overhead costs. But actually, is that what happened? 750,000 is what was incurred right here. 750,000. So 750,000. Okay. Was it under applied or over applied? Was it under applied or over applied? As you can see, 759,500 is lower than, is higher than 750 actually. Okay, 759 is higher than 750. So we estimated higher than what actually happened. So the company, what happened was the company over applied by 9,500 in molding. Okay, so that's what we have been asked to compete for. Okay, the company estimated 559 for molding, but what actually will happen with 570? The company underestimated, and here they overestimated by 9,500. Thank you for watching this video. Please share with your friends and comment and leave a comment of what problem you would like me to work on. Thank you. I will see you next time. Have a great weekend.